After 3 years of much prevarication, Government has now confirmed that their sponsorship and funding of LEPs will cease from April 2024, and the functions of LEP should pass to upper-tier local democratic institutions. It is important to state that the LEP, and me personally, have always supported the concept of greater devolution, but that where this is achieved, it is important that the private sector, along with our higher education and further education partners, continue to be at the top table in any devolved structures. The future delivery of economic development must represent an improvement from where we are today, and we must avoid any drift towards opaqueness, ambiguity, lack of accountability, or the loss of the business voice. The purpose of devolution is to deliver better and stronger local leadership of services, and within this, the economy matters a lot. An important role of the LEP over the past dozen years has been to recognise the opportunities and challenges we face as an area. Unfortunately, though, often we have had few of the levers to address these challenges and put them right. Devolution could and should help address this, but developing the economy is not a statutory responsibility of local authorities currently, despite its importance, and the local authorities face many other significant challenges, as you will be aware. So arrangements for economic development must deliver for the long term, be adequately resourced, and have the right structure and powers to make a difference. We are working with our local authorities and other partners on a plan for transition which meets government's goal of this being as soon as possible, whilst being consistent with a smooth process. We will publish more detail on this over the next few months. These long-awaited changes have been difficult for the LEP board members, working groups and staff alike, and I would like to thank all of them for their continued support, resilience and patience through this overly protracted process. We remain absolutely committed to maintaining delivery through an orderly and timely transition, although it is fair to say that the disaggregation of the heart of the Southwest geographies and our CIC status does add complexity that needs to be worked through. So what of the last 12 months, from April 22 to March 23? Well, it's been turbulent to say the least. A backdrop of war in Europe, changes in political leadership both locally and nationally, changes to and the fragmentation of local economic funding, but above all the impact of inflation on the cost of living and the cost of doing business. The delivery of capital programmes has, without question, become more difficult as costs have risen. The business support landscape is changing and reducing rapidly, with more funding directed towards pride of place rather than productivity and supporting business growth. I have no doubt that we are also seeing far-reaching post-pandemic and Brexit reset, and for many places, communities, businesses and people, things are extremely challenging. Since the publication of the government's Levelling Up white paper some 18 months ago, and the stated aim of government to widen devolution and transfer LEP functions to upper-tier authorities, the LEP has focused on 5 key themes. Delivery of our legacy programmes, Local Growth Fund, Getting Building Fund, EU funding and services such as the Growth Hub and Careers Hub. Delivery of the Build Back Better plan and specifically its transformational economic opportunities. Delivering inclusive growth, a Growing Places Fund. Overall, I believe that progress through these challenging economic and political times has been strong. We have also seen major initiatives such as the Plymouth and South Devon Freeport, Gravity, the South West Social Mobility Commission and Great South West all take significant steps forward. Hinkley Point C has continued to progress with legacy and transition of know-how to Sizewell becoming increasingly real. The opening of the Oakhampton rail line was a real coup for our area and demonstrated how genuine partnership can work. And for the first time in over 20 years, we are seeing investment in improvements to the A303 as opposed to simply maintenance, and are on the cusp of seeing the investment in solving the Stonehenge challenge. In recent years, to support the delivery of clean and inclusive growth, we have sought to target much reduced resources to commission projects to meet our core goals, particularly in innovation or activities that contribute to net zero in digital, energy and maritime. As part of this, over the last year, we have continued to deliver our Build Back Better plan. In 2022-23, 16 Local Growth Fund and Getting Building Fund capital projects were completed. As well as the Forder Valley Link Road completing earlier in the year and the Marsh Barton Railway Station opening in the last few weeks, it has been good to see both Intercity Place in Plymouth and the Taunton Digital Innovation Centre get to practical completion, and iAero in Yeovil celebrated its 1 year on in July. The Further Education Digital Accelerator has been completed, providing FE colleges across the area with new state-of-the-art IT equipment to help develop skills for the future. Through the leadership of our chambers, the Hotswell Local Skills Improvement Plan has been agreed and signed off by DfE, and our Getting Building Fund capital programme is now complete. And I am proud that the recent National Growth Hub evaluation placed our very own Growth Hub in the top 5 in the UK. The Hotswell Careers Hub is now transitioning to operate separately across Somerset and Devon. The enterprise zones in Plymouth, Oceansgate, East Devon and now Gravity in Somerset are all attracting new investment and starting to use the borrowing tools available to them to put in place appropriate infrastructure to encourage and de-risk future development. The redevelopment of the Gravity site underpins our clean growth credentials and really starts to put some substance to deliver the M5A38 as UK's clean growth corridor. And the Plymouth and South Devon Freeport illustrates our area's commitment to the marine sector, increasing export and driving innovation, and the LEP has been delighted to support this project over the last couple of years. I'd like to turn now to the impact of the LEP. So far, our Local Growth Fund and Getting Building Fund programmes have created some 9,283 jobs and apprenticeships, and are forecast to create a further 13,459 by March 2025. 37,830 people have been trained in facilities that LEP funding has helped to create, and a further 24,731 are forecast to be trained by March 2025. But the impact of large-scale capital programmes is much more than what we can be delivered by March 2025, the date government require reporting to. This year we have commissioned a wide-ranging study to understand this better, looking not just at the immediate levels of job and apprenticeship creation or number of houses built, but what will the contribution of those investments will be over the next 5 to 10 years. For large-scale capital programmes using public money, it is right that this is clearly understood, and I would hope that the evaluation will help local partners in the future in their bidding into new future funding opportunities. The full report will be published later in the autumn, but early headlines show that over the period to 2034, LEP investments will generate 6.7 billion of additional GVA for the economy, allowing for inflation over the period. With an economy currently totalling 34 billion, that is a significant impact, with every £1 of LEP investment generating between £15 and £19 over the period. Although funding through LEPs has been reduced in recent years, this message is important in the context of securing resources for future growth. Ultimately, government investment here in the heart of the South West gives a good return for UK PLC and the taxpayer. So what does the future hold? Over the past 2 or 3 years, with the transition of local growth funding directly to local authorities, the tools and funding to deliver economic growth through LEPs has very much been curtailed. High Streets funding, Towns funds, Levelling Up and UK SPF are now all routed directly through local authorities. But with government's own recognition, this has created a patchwork of fragmented delivery challenged by rising prices. Inflation, supply chain and labour market challenges have made capital projects harder to deliver. Despite that, we have worked hard to try to secure the strategic infrastructure improvements we need. The rolling investment strategy adopted by governments prioritising metropolitan areas and solutions is no longer fit for purpose, and we will need to think much more radically to invest increasingly scarce public money wisely, including engaging the private sector in developing solutions. It is clear that the next stage of transport strategic investment will be in maintenance rather than improvement. As you will be more than aware, I am sure our highways estate is in a poor condition. Digital connectivity, particularly to hard-to-reach areas, remains a real challenge. The LEP has provided significant funding support to the CDS programme, but delivery has been very challenging and not as fast as anyone would have hoped. Much of broadband delivery by the private sector is often overbuilt, and we are unfortunately last in the queue to secure Project Gigabit, with continued real uncertainty on how this will be delivered across the hotspot area. As a result of these challenges, we have redirected significant amounts of digital funding to support complementary digital activity, largely for business innovation, such as the 4G and 5G testbed in the Smart Sound at Plymouth. Losing our young talent to other areas, poor social mobility, availability of and the affordability of housing, and delivering net zero remain very much at the core of the challenges facing our area. Through our support, we hope the South West Social Mobility Commission might start to shine a light to instigate some progress on this particular challenge, but significant structural and systemic challenges remain. We are fortunate that across the Hotspur there are high-quality FE institutions, but the academic results at GCSE level in some areas still need to improve, and we need our talented young people to build their careers here. The business community has a clear role to play in all of this, and I was delighted at the enthusiasm and desire to do just that at the joint South West Social Mobility and South West Business Council conference, where business discussed and explored what should and could be done. To me, it is vital that we make sure that our young people in our schools and colleges are aware of the many exciting and rewarding career opportunities that are already here in our area, let alone the ones that will be coming from projects like Flow and Gravity. Clearly, we are moving into a period of change, and I would like to thank everyone involved in the LEP, the board, the staff, and the partners for everything that they have done and helped us achieve so far, and looking forwards for helping to deliver a smooth and constructive transition to the future. My request of everyone is that the spirit of partnership and collaboration continue into the future, and that the voice of business continues to be listened to, welcomed and valued by all partners in shaping the economic support and investment for our area going forwards. Thank you all for listening.